morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I will share my screen in a moment so we can start the meeting of today that is highly relevant for the valorization of organic waste and trying to understand better how to treat waste. So this is our 10th webinar, our 10th session. We will have only one more left in February, so we hope you will enjoy this session of today. The session of today will talk about the valorization of the byproducts and unlocking value from food loss and waste. And the agenda of today will be like our first speaker is having some difficulties to connect, so he will be the second. But we will have three different cases or, three different presentations. The first one will be from Mr. Majid, and he will present the opportunities for the recovery of fruits and vegetables processing wastes. Then we will have the presentation from the composting plant of San Lucia, and Mr. David, will talk more about how they are valorizing the organic waste and how they are producing mulch and compost and creating these byproducts, and they are selling that into their community. And finally, we will have the presentation from Ms. John. John will present the pledge on food waste, and it's crucially to understand better how this pledge, sorry for the noise, how this pledge works, and how it's linked to food waste. As always, we will have a Q&A section, and we will finalize with a closing remarks. Remember that this program, the Recycle Organics program, is being implemented in 6 seats, 4 in the Caribbean, Grenada, St. Lucia, Guyana, and Belize, and it's funded by the Environment Climate Change of Canada. So first, I wanted to present a small announcement that is related to this methane mitigation practical guide. You can download that guide when you scan this QR code. This guide has different ways to understand how to integrate the waste sector in our local management in a city, in a municipal level, and how to set up different guidelines for the development of these public policies, and how to promote the methane mitigation in the waste sector. But also has a section that it's related to an investment plan. So it provides a tool, this guide provides a tool for countries to understand how to implement an investment plan or how develop an investment plan, which things we need to consider related to infrastructure and to different projects for climate and organic waste management goals. So we will have an online course related to this MMPP guidebook. You will know more when this course is launched, that it will be embedded in UNEP's platform in their e-learning site. We will share the information soon when it's available, but it's a free course, and it will be in 3 different languages: Spanish, English, and Portuguese. And we will have 2 main modules, one about the public policies for methane mitigation, and the other one related to an investment plan, to use it as a tool to develop different documents. So finally, we invite you to consult this guide by scanning this QR code, and we hope you can enjoy it. I will stop sharing 1 minute only because I need to jump to Majid's presentation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maria, Mr. Davis is online already. He's just joined.
Okay, great. Sorry. Okay, so give me 1 second because I stopped sharing. Thank you. Here it is. Good morning, Mr. Davis, can you hear us? I will present
Yes,
you.
good morning. I apologize. I was having some serious technical difficulties. I had to reach out to the IT persons for some assistance because actually I'm on vacation leave.
Oh, okay, so thank you for joining. I will present you. I will present you and then giving you the floor. So for the participants to know, Davis Poleon is employed with the San Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority as a landfill supervisor at the Deglos Sanitary Landfill. In addition to the supervision of daily operations at the landfill, he also assists youth organizations in environmental programs such as composting as they pursue organic gardening initiatives. Davis has attained a Master of Science degree in Environmental Management from the University of London and has also successfully completed training in Japan in the following areas: sustainable solid waste management in CARICOM member states and management of composting projects. He has also completed the expert track of the UN Environmental Massive online course on marine litter. And David has conducted extensive composting training across the island with schools, farmers, and other institutions, and has also assisted the Taiwanese technical mission in the regard. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Davis, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. A pleasant good afternoon to everybody. Um, as I said, I just had a few technical difficulties, so maybe it got me a little frazzled. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm running so late. But anyway, it's nice being here this afternoon. Again, a pleasant good afternoon to you. This first slide and what I have been tasked on presenting today, I'm going to try my best to give a perspective on that. From the first slide, you could have seen the children, and I truly believe we yes, I truly believe this is the place that we should try. We should try to start. We should try to continue. We should really put all our efforts into, because I think as we get older, well, all of us are older, so we know how difficult it is for our minds to be changed about things. So I try my best to focus on the children. The photo you see there, these are children from the primary school level. They came over to learn about composting and waste management. And as usual, I try my best to inculcate composting initiatives in terms of what they could do at the school and give them with some compost. So at least they have something to motivate them going forward. So as we look at St. Lucia and we look at food loss and we look at waste generally, it becomes a very difficult area to navigate at times because we are still a very small developing country, and policies in regard to food waste management is usually very difficult. Policies might be in place, but in terms of these policies having some enforcement backing and teeth so that things could be done right has always been very, very challenging. Next slide, please. So this afternoon, we are going to look at generally 4 areas. I'm going to show you some brief, give you a little brief history on the Deglo composting facility. We're going to look at some key insights on the marketing of byproducts in St. Lucia, our experience with selling products derived from the composting initiative, and finally, initiatives to incentivize market uptake. Sorry. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is the Deglo composting facility. For some of the members of the team who've been there, they have seen it firsthand. It keeps on evolving. This is a very recent photo of the facility. We actually started in this particular area about 3 years ago. It was February of 2023, actually. And we have moved from strength to strength. At the facility, basically, we handle green waste. We do not handle food waste. There is no organization or entity on island that I know of presently handling food waste. Most of the food waste which is generated by, I would say, large generators on island, which would be the hotels and so on, it is usually disposed of if they cannot get that into the hands of a livestock farmer. So there is no entity at this point handling food waste at any level in terms of composting or biogas digestion or anything along those lines. So it has always been something very difficult to handle because mainly of the nature of the waste and the capital investment that would be needed to handle food waste. And when I say that, I'm thinking more along the lines of in-vessel composting. So at Deglo, we handle more or less green waste that would constitute branches, anything trimmed from the side of the road, whether it's an initiative with government where the roadside is cleaned and you have a lot of grass being generated as a waste product, or branches are cleared from power lines and that comes into the landfill as waste, or persons doing cleaning, especially around this time, December, everybody's doing cleaning. So a lot of waste is coming into the facility in that regard. So we try our best to channel or divert the clean green waste. And I need to emphasize that because a lot of the times, because somebody might, for example, clear a particular area or clean a particular area, the waste sometimes is heavily commingled. You could have a range of other things in there, from metals, metal pipes, to plastics, to bags, to all sorts, because one would just want to maximize the haulage. So the waste is going to be commingled most of the times, and that makes it very, very difficult for us to handle. As you may know, when waste comes to the landfill commingle, if one has to undertake the process of dealing with that, it becomes a very expensive venture because you need to employ more persons just to deal with separation activities. And we are not equipped to handle that. So that kind of waste most times would just go to the tipping phase. But if the waste comes in uncommingled, we are able to accept it at the composting area. If it's lightly commingled, we still accept it at the composting facility where we could do our own separations and we are able to process that waste. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is just a side view of the, go back, please. You went a little too fast. Yes, thank you. This is just a side view of the same photo that you saw here. So in the photo, from the first one, you could have seen the hips on the side. These are hips that are closer to maturity. And these on the back of the shed that you see here, these are hips that are midway in terms of maturity. And all of the hips are labeled, so we are able to track the progress and digestion of the hips. All of the hips are managed accordingly in terms of temperature checks, in terms of aeration and so on. Usually we try, what has been our goal from the beginning of 2025 is that we try to close off a hip every month. We actually were able to achieve that at an 85% level. There were months that we had challenges. We had a very huge challenge this year where part of the landfill caught on fire. So it became very difficult for us to manage the composting area because we had to divert resources in terms of manpower and equipment in order to deal with the pressing emergency. So as a result of that, it kind of put us off track for a while. And also you have employees who, I mean, by law, if they request they leave, vacation leave, it has to be granted. I mean, there's only so much wiggle room you have in that regard. So We have some heaps to the side here. So actually right now at the facility, we are dealing with about 8 heaps. So we number and label the heaps accordingly, so we're able to manage them going forward. Also on the right of the screen, you would see a heap of wood chips. This is from our chipper that's under the tap to the back of it. So we are able to chip the wood. We have 2 consistencies that we are able to produce at the facility because we have 2 different types of wood chippers. You could go to the next slide, please. Yes, presently this is the sieve that we are using after the compost is mature and we are ready to sieve it before sale. Under the tab there, this is where the compost would be stored. We try our best to keep it covered because we, just as a best practice in terms of mature material remaining covered and, you know, out and not exposed to the elements. So you try your best to preserve it. Fortunately for us, with this present program with Recycle Organics, we have been gifted a shaker and a small front end loader, but at this point, it is still not cleared from customs as yet, unfortunately. But when it is cleared and it is commissioned, we'd no longer be using that configuration and we'd be using the shaker where there would be a concrete slab to the bottom, and that would greatly increase our efficiency in sieving material and preparing material for sale. So again, I just want to say heartfelt thanks to the program and the persons who were involved in making that initiative possible. Next slide, please. This is not one of my personal photos, but it's actually a photo from one of our clients, one of our customers. I chose that photo so I could actually show you a little better view of the quality of the material that's produced at the site. This gentleman gets all his wood chips and his compost from us. You could see the richness of the material here, and they actually seed into the material. The material is not mixed with anything else. They seed directly into the material and they get some extraordinary results, and they use the wood chips actually as their pathways or walkways in the greenhouse tunnel that you see here. So these persons are mainly into the production of microgreens and baby greens. So they buy a lot of compost from us, and they are very satisfied with the compost that they receive. And actually, honestly, I have not had, from the 3 years plus that we've started at the front of the landfill, I have not had one bad in relation to the quality of the material. Even when Mr. Matthew from California was there a few months ago, he too was very pleased with what he was seeing at the facility. And, you know, even we had some interesting conversations in relation to the way forward for the facility. I'm personally very, very proud of what we've been able to achieve at the facility, because it has always been a personal, I would say a personal dream of mine that something substantial starts in St. Lucia. Very fortunate that it started with me, but it is something that I've always wanted to be vested more in the agricultural ministry. But unfortunately, that is not the case. But we as solid waste employees, we went ahead and we just tried to see how best we could make that opportunity in terms of it being available to persons on island. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is another one of the clients And you could see, I mean, the picture most definitely speaks 1,000 words. You could see the quality of the plants, and you could see how neatly he has this tunnel organized. And one could say that, yes, there is most definitely value in what is being produced. And he too is a qualified person in that area. So he was able to express his satisfaction with the material that he's getting from the facility, and the fact that he has absolutely no issues with weed seeds. I know that is it's a sore point for persons producing compost. Because of the issue with temperature generation by the microbes, and able to consistently have that temperature at a specific range to ensure that you kill off pathogens and you prevent weed seeds from to germinate in your mature material. So that is most definitely a plus for the facility. So Deglo most definitely has put itself, I do not know of anybody else on island producing compost, and more so producing it at that level. So we know at this present point, we actually never have enough material to supply persons with, because from the time the wood got out that compost is readily available, their persons have constantly come in to purchase, and they actually want to purchase more, but we actually had to put restrictions on how much of the material we can sell. And that was only because we wanted to ensure that it got into more hands, instead of one person just buying off an entire heap and nobody else could actually access it. So this is more or less what we've been able to achieve. Just needed to show you a photo so that we have some perspective. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is Tintin. This is our mascot that we use at St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority. And I really like this slide. Basically, Tintin is thinking. And I really wanted to portray perspective in the sense of him thinking, and you have this glass of water on the stool. So one might say from their perspective that this glass is half empty, or one might say that the glass is half full. I am one who will say that the glass is half full. Now, the reason I say that is that we actually, we are looking towards the future very optimistically, because we know we are not there yet, but whatever we have done in that regard has been beneficial. And the reason I say that is the composting program at the landfill is not for us to sell compost. First and foremost, we want to actually reduce the green waste going to the tipping area, and likewise reduce our methane output. So this is our overarching goal in terms of the production of compost at the facility. Presently, we are at a 15 to 20% reduction of green waste being landfill. So basically that means 20% of whatever comes in is diverted, 15 to 20% of that is diverted to the composting area. Now, sometimes this figure is further reduced because there are times after we have done our own sorting at the facility, we still have to reject a few loads. It's not anything substantial, but we still don't send that back to the tipping phase. There is an area at the bottom where we operate from that we could handle those. Sometimes the logs might just be a little too large for the chipper to handle. So sometimes we are able to put it aside and allow it to naturally break down, naturally get corroded by the elements, rain, wind, and sunlight. And after a while, we are able to chip that material and still use it. So this is the perspective from which we operate at the facilities, that if we have gone from 0 and now we at 15 to 20%, I think that's a huge improvement. So at least we know in relation to that percentage, at least 600 tons or so of waste is not going to the tipping area, but it is being transformed into something very useful, not only for us as an organization that we could offer to the public, but also that, you know, the benefits are far reaching in terms of who buys the material and the reasons that they buy it. And it becomes a very interesting area to visit when persons do visit us, especially schools, especially our local college, the Louis Community College, agricultural science students and students in general. So that is the perspective that we are working with. Next slide, please. So key insights on the market of byproducts in St. Lucia. So basically in St. Lucia, in terms of looking at, as I said, we do not have much going on in terms of food waste, but other organics, especially green waste, we could only basically look at two areas: biogas, biofuel generation, and composting. Biogas and biofuels, this is an area that is literally untapped, I would want to say, in St. Lucia presently. There is a major, this is a major area which I have always argued that we are just limiting ourselves in terms of what can be done. Now, the reason I say that is we have a number of persons into the production of pork on island. So we have a number of pig farmers. And I could remember as far as the late 80s, early 90s, there was some impetus from the Ministry of Agriculture in relation to getting biogas digesters on some of those farms. And some of the farms, they did put in those digesters. The digesters worked perfectly, gas was produced, but at the end of the day, there was a fundamental issue: the use of the gas. There was just not enough foresight in terms of how the gas would have been utilized after it was produced. And usually for a number of those pilot projects, after a while, they unfortunately die a natural death. So in St. Lucia, the biogas and biofuel area is an area that is just untouched. And I think now would be an opportune time, because there is so much impetus and thrust towards renewable sources of energy and so on. So I think it's an area that has to be a major investment area for the Ministry of Agriculture to look at. So in many ways, persons do not miss out. Now, I say it is an opportune time for this to happen because there are methane generators available that could be used. So before, I know the technology was one that was not really introduced in the Caribbean region as yet, but now you click on methane generators and you could get so many different types that could be installed and sizing to suit whatever is being done. So we have feedstock available right now in terms of, as I said, with the pig farmers. That has always been a sub point in terms of how their waste is being managed. And presently, for the last 5 years, the issues that we've had with sargassum seaweed. This is also an area where I believe biogas or biofuel generation can make a huge difference in dealing with this issue. At first, it was more like a seasonal issue, but now it's almost like Christmas is like in every month here, if I should term it that way. You know, sargassum is just always here. You know, so I think that's an area that is untouched. In relation to composting, as much as things are looking a lot better now compared to 10, 20 years ago, I still think it's an area for huge expansion. One of the things that I wish would happen here is that the Ministry of Agriculture, basically the island is divided into regions. I honestly see the need for every region to have some sort of composting initiative. So the farmers of that particular region could access compost from the region, because it would be a lot closer for them in relation to, because right now the Deglo is in the north of the island and I actually live in the south of the island. So many persons in the south of the island are constantly asking me, when are we get to get compost in the south of the island? So most times I I literally put bags of compost on my vehicle and I bring it down to the south of the island. So, you know, I mean, the prospect is there for expansion, but everything needs to be in place so that can happen. So I know there is a huge thrust towards it. Persons are getting exposed to the benefits of it, and persons are accepting it. Just last week I was, you know, hosting, well, I was asked to do some training in that regard, and there were persons in the room who've already done it, but they really appreciated the insights that they got in that regard. And you know, they got some samples as usual, so they were able to see and touch and feel and appreciate, because anytime someone sees material like that, they appreciate the value that it would bring to whatever that they do. So I think these are two key areas that St. Lucia needs to come on board with. In terms of biogas digestion, what I foresee is that a sizable acreage need to be allocated to that. So you generally have an area where biogas is produced and composting is done. So whatever byproducts from the biogas is just using the composting program, and then you have no issues moving. So it's just one facility. At least you could have substantial power generation, energy generation in that regard, and you could still deal with the byproducts at the same time in one area. I think it's a work in progress. I'm really optimistic in terms of what should happen moving forward. Next slide, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. Davis, you have 5 more minutes.
No problem. Next slide, please. Okay, our experience with selling products derived from the composting initiative. On the right there, you will see our bags of compost ready for sale. On the left there, you would see wood chips. So we do sell wood chips. Persons buy wood chips, but not as often as the compost. We're able to sell the wood chips per bag, and we are also able to sell the wood chips in bulk. Presently, we are not able to sell the compost in bulk. As I explained before, we want to ensure that everybody would be able to get some of it for their own personal use. If we do have to sell it in bulk, it would just disappear, more or less, because one person and several persons have approached me. So I do not want to go down that route. I do not want to disenfranchise anybody in that regard. So we are not doing that presently. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's the finished compost. You could see this is actually my hand there. And we also sell the wood chip mulch. The difference is that the wood chip mulch has leaves incorporated in it, but the wood chips does not have leaves. So we could also provide the person with that also. Next slide, please. This is our mushroom substrate. There's one particular farmer who's into mushrooms, so we are able to provide mushroom substrate for him. The process is very similar, but the controls are a lot different because you do not want any cross-contamination of the material. So we do likewise to ensure that that material is fit for mushroom production. We've only had one time we had some issue, but we have already rectified that, and moving forward, we've not had any issues in that regard. Next slide, please. So finally, initiatives to incentivize market uptake. Basically, what we've done on our own, we have $1 discount per reuse bag. So if somebody brings in a bag for reuse, they get $1 discount off the price. So presently it's $20 a bag, so they get it at $19. So we encourage them to bring in the bags for reuse. It does not have to be our bags. It could be any, could be a feed bag, as long as it's of the capacity. We don't have a problem with that. We would actually give them the discount because we are promoting reuse of the bags generally. Another way that is also being done, we had to get our label requirements in check in terms of with the Senatorial Bureau of Standards. So persons know that the material has been tested, and what is on the label is what is actually in the bag, because it has been sanctioned by the Senatorial Bureau of Standards. So persons don't even ask about that anymore. You know, persons they are very satisfied with what it is. So only have had a few conversations in that regard. And finally, COSCO, which is the Caribbean Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, they actually are trying to implement some standards in composting. That has not been finalized. I know last year there was a broad stakeholder engagement in that regard. But strangely, well, good for us, I would say. Most of what they want to implement is things that we're already doing in terms of sieving particle size, in terms of moisture content, in terms of nutrient availability in the material. It's things that we're already doing. So when the standard is definitely finalized and everything is completed and it's launched, I think we should have no issues in that regard. Next slide, please. So this is just a photo of our flyer here. So just wanted to highlight that we do have it on the photo that there's a $1 discount per bag. You could see it at the bottom of the flyer. Just wanted to highlight that. Next slide, please. And Tintin again saying thank you, and ensure that you get on the composting train. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Thank you for the presentation and also for this incredible experience in St. Lucia landfill and the generation of mulch and compost. So we invite all the participants to leave all your questions in the chat. You can see the icon of a chat, of a dialogue at the top of the screen. And you can type the questions and we will answer the questions like after all our speakers present. So now we will invite here, we will invite Miss Shan. Are you here?
I am here. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, great. Yes, we can hear you properly and we can see you. So Ms. Shan Young, she is an award-winning waste management educator, consultant, and social entrepreneur. With her coin phrase, "Waste is sexy," she brings dynamic energy, engaging passion, and extensive knowledge to her work. Shan has nearly 2 decades of experience in waste management, funding the successful social enterprise called SIAL Environmental Services Limited. SIAL is a food waste management education, certification, and training consultancy based in Trinidad and Tobago. She holds a master's degree in environmental engineering, is an accredited food prevention consultant, a Fulbright fellow, and has won titles like Entrepreneurship World Cup for Trinidad and Tobago and Innovative Entrepreneur of the Year. She is also alumni of the prestigious Global SOCAP and Halcyon Fellowships Program, the first from her country to be selected. Proud for her. She's also a published children's author, a loving wife, and mother of 3. So thank you for being here, Sean, and for presenting this pledge. The floor is yours now.
Thank you so much, Maria. Muchas gracias. Thank you, everyone. So we will, as a busy entrepreneur, I am on the go. So apologies if I dip a little bit in between, but please let me know if you stop hearing me for any at any instance in time. So SIAL currently is the only certification company with the pledge on food waste in the Caribbean region. And our goal is to reduce food waste, to divert surplus edible food to the stomachs that need it, and to compost the inedible portions. So I'm gonna go through what the pledge is about, and you can feel free to ask questions along the way. So Maria, can you share this slide to me? Thank you.
Yes, sorry. I had a problem with the screen, but now, give me 1 second. Now.
Thank you so much. So the pledge is it's a global food waste certification program and has existed since 2018. It's third-party certification for and a benchmarking system designed to fight food waste, to reduce costs, and to gain competitive advantage for organizations in the hospitality industry, so hotels, restaurants, and events. So that's what we do across the Caribbean region. Next one, please.
Sorry, I don't know why it's not working, but give me 1 second again.
No problem. Yeah, that's okay.
Now?
No, yes, I see
I
it.
hope it's working.
Okay, you have to go back. You have to go back a few slides. See if you can go backwards a bit. Yeah.
Here.
Right, next one. Very good. So the pledge has been trusted by many, many global brands across the world internationally. So you see the Sheraton, the Hyatt Regency, the Marriott, the Andaz, and many other, the Purdue University, Oakland University, which is based out of California. So we are trusted by a number of brands all over the world. And as I said, we work specifically with the hospitality industry, so hotels, restaurants, events and convention centers, and canteens. Next one, please, Maria. So the pledge currently, this slide has to be updated to now include Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean region. So we're now in over 19 countries across the world, and we continue to expand all the time. Next one. So with the pledge, there are 7 pillars. This is our methodology when we go to hotels, restaurants, and events across the region. So we have 7 pillars: process documentation, employee commitment, food waste monitoring, food handling before prep. So we're dealing with both in the kitchen and outside of the kitchen, food preparation, customer engagement, post-consumer. So it's all about reducing food waste from the beginning, from engaging from the supplier as they come into the establishment, all the way to when it becomes plated, and even post-consumption at the end of the period. So seven pillars with 95 different criteria totaling in each one. Next one, please. So these are just some photos just to give you an idea of what each pillar is. So pillar 1 is process documentation. So we're looking at are there food policies in place? Are they visible? Is it on your website? Is it documented physically so that staff and your guests can see it? So these are some of the examples that we will look for in pillar 1. Next one. Pillar 2, employee commitment, and all even in behavior change work, commitment and making that commitment visible is an encouragement to pull on environmental action. So how do your employees participate? I recently also did a presentation with with the Recycle Organics colleague in St. Lucia, where we talked about culture, and that culture eats policy for breakfast, right? And a part of culture is incorporating small habits among your staff, which will become action. So how do your employees show their commitment to reducing food waste? Next one. A part of this is tracking and monitoring. It is the most essential part of the certification process. You cannot manage what you do not know. That is a mantra that we say in waste management generally. And so food waste management is no different. So a part of our process includes a tracking and monitoring software. It's called Food Intelligence Tech. So we come in and integrate this into your operations. Most operations already have scales. They're already doing some level of measurement in the cooking process. And so we are now documenting that process so that you have an idea, you have a picture at the end of where your food waste is being generated, what are the specific food groups that the food waste is being generated, so that you can make data-backed decisions when it comes to reducing your food waste. Next slide. Food handling before preparation. So we're looking at things like food storage. When last were your freezers and fridges inspected? Do you practice the FIFO method, first in, first out? How are your food labeled? Are they labeled appropriately? So anybody could come in and know exactly, when was this purchased? When was it brought in? So, okay, I use this process. So these are some of the things that we look for in the food handling before preparation pillar. Next one. So food preparation and offering. Go back one, Maria. We're on pillar 5. Yeah. So food preparation and offering. How is the food prepared? Are there a lot of scraps? How is it showcased to your customers? So you see the beautiful pictures there. You move from multiple things on a plate to really minimizing. Paying attention to things like your plate size. Do you have what are some of the other practices that you are using to reduce food waste? And you have signs talking about zero waste, a zero waste burger, meaning they use every aspect of the meat in order to produce that burger. So do you have zero waste meals? Are you using both the flesh and skin of the fruit? Things like that is what will fall under pillar number 5. Next one, pillar number 6. Customer engagement. I recently traveled to China and was staying in a hotel that is also practicing food waste reduction. And one of the things that I saw from on the dining table was little placards showing that how important food waste management is to the hotel, and how I, as the guest, can participate in that. So they had QR codes, they had flyers and posters placed all over the dining room area, just reiterating the fact that this hotel reduces kitchens, it reduces food waste, they practice the use of smaller plates, as you can see in the picture. Some of my colleagues were like, oh my God, why is the plate so small? And I had a little chuckle because that is intentional. The goal is to get you to, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a saying, your eye bigger than your belly, meaning you're seeing so much food, you take so much, you don't eat it all. And so using smaller plates has been proven to be an effective strategy to engaging with your guests to reduce food waste. And of course, reiterating that with visible signs, visible prompts in and around the dining room area as reminders. Next slide, please. Post-consumer, so what happens to your waste, right? So my colleague from St. Lucia was just talking about the St. Lucia Solid Waste Authority composting facility. So that's an excellent use of inedible portion of food waste, because what we recognize that is coming from these hotels, you have the edible portions and then you have the inedible portions. The edible portions, we encourage our clients to practice food donation, and then the inedible portions are where things where we encourage composting, biogas digestion, whether that is happening on the facility, on site or off site. Next slide, please. So this is just a brief synopsis of what the process is going to look like. So it's a membership program. So you join us, you give your commitment to reducing food waste by joining the pledge. Then we go through the implementing process. Then we have the auditing. We do both a mock audit to get you ready. For those of you who are on the call that are familiar with auditing processes like ISO processes, for example, you do an internal audit or a mock audit first, and then the external auditor comes. So this process is similar to that. And then post that, you get your certification and recognition. So you get a certificate that you can put in various parts of the company, but you also get a badge that you can put on your website, on your staff uniforms, all to show your commitment to reducing food waste. Next one. So we talk about the, this is the compliance platform. So we have the mobile version. So 7 pillars, 95 criteria. Of course, with implementation of something like this in Belize, we provide guidance and explanation. So the whole process along the way is going to give you recommendations that you can implement. And we're also going to give you additional tools, and it's available in 3 languages, in English, French, and Spanish. We're also going to help you to be able to communicate this effort to your customers, to be able to attract the guest that is eco-aware, that is eco-conscious, that wants to stay in a hotel that is doing something like this. So we give you a whole communications kit. You have access to our knowledge hub, which is a slew of courses and programs. It also comes in a mobile version, and we continue to inspire you along the way. As I continue to talk to hotels, I said, we hold your hand through this process. We're not just going to say, okay, you become a member, we leave you alone to do everything else yourself. We guide you through the process. We give you recommendations. We support you through use of templates. All of that falls within the package that you get when you decide to become compliant with the pledge. And to reiterate here that the pledge is an international certification. So it's not just for Belize, it's not just for Trinidad and Tobago, it's not just for St. Lucia, but this is certification that will work for anyone all over the world. Next slide, please. So I went through the 7 pillars, 95 criteria, totaling 100 points. And then these are the categories that we have. So you have All-Star, 100%. You have certified bronze between 70 to 79%, silver, 80 to 89, gold, 90 to 99, and a full 100% for All-Star, right? And so therefore, the minimum that you must get in order to become certified with the pledge is 70%. If you are under that, of course, we will continue to work with you. So to get you ready to be able to meet your certification. So it's not just about getting the certification only, but it's also about getting you ready to become certified. If you have nothing in place, if you've just started and you're ready to take the next step, Kyle will work with you to get you certified, to get you ready to become certified. And then when we do our initial assessment, then we'll see if you're ready to move to the full certification process. So we take you from beginning all the way to the end. Next slide, please. So these are just some photos and pictures to show chefs in different parts of the world as well who have, and what we also have as a part of our program is, I call it the Chef Connect. So we connect chefs of already certified hotels to chefs of hotels that are interested. So they now have an additional resource. They have persons to bounce ideas off of as well. So that's an additional bonus that we provide at SILE Environmental for customers, the Chef Connect program, so that chefs can speak to chefs. Yeah. And these are just some fun ways that they have showcased their certification, from their certificates, from social media graphics, from going on television and speaking about it, to doing videos as well. If the picture on the top left hand side for me with the chef in the red, in the black, sorry, with the red badge, that's a snapshot of a video that the hotel did to showcase, that they have on their website, to showcase that they are now certified with the pledge, what their certification is, and to hear from the chef and the general managers as well. Next slide, please. So again, this is just a summary of some of the things that I would have already mentioned. You'd have 24/7 access to the platform with the 7 pillars, 95 criteria, giving you guidance, tools, and available in multiple languages. You had access to resources, a communication hit, knowledge hub. We do onboarding calls with you, so you know exactly what you're getting into. We help you engage with your customers as well, and then your pledge box is what you get when you become certified. Includes your certificate, your plaque, and some goodies as well. So you have T-shirts, you have the pledge logo that you can also place, which is on the badge that you get once you become certified. So this is just to show you that you will not be left alone, that you have the full support of SILE Environmental as we administer the pledge on food waste across the Caribbean region. And so you will be supported through the process. Even if you're not ready for full certification, we will help you get there. Next slide. So some of the benefits, and I'm sure my colleague from St. Lucia mentioned some of this, because some of the benefits are the same if you were just doing composting. So you have, and these are just average figures, then these numbers increase based on the different levels of the hotel. So we have an average of a 30% food waste reduction in food waste per cover, which is food waste per guest. Carbon emissions, specifically in the form of methane gas, is reduced. We have a 3 to 5 monetary reduction in food cost per cover, because we also have to remember that when you waste food, you also waste all the resources that it took to make that food, which includes the financial resources that it took to put it together. And of course, you get international recognition. So at SILE, we have both levels. We have local recognition, and then we have international recognition when you take the full commitment for the pledge. It's a practical methodology where we practice a third-party audit and benchmarking system, and you get branding and positioning. This is what separates, as we say at home here, the goat from the sheep. This is what separates you from anybody else. There is no other international certification for food waste anywhere in the globe. There are other international green certifications, but none specific to food waste. And this is what we have brought to the Caribbean region. Next slide. So since introducing, according to Chef Kenny, since introducing the pledge, we've gained data-driven insights that helps us set our standard procedures and target key areas for inspection. As an environmental scientist by profession, making data-backed decisions is always a good thing. And that is what the pledge allows you to be able to do. So you're not just saying, oh, it's just a little bit, or we don't generate that much food waste. That much and a little bit are not numbers. You have to tangibly monitor where you are at. So at the Hyatt Beijing, and as I said, I just came back from China. I did not stay in the Hyatt Beijing. I visited 4 cities, Beijing, Yiwu, Hangzhou, and Shanghai. But the Hyatt Regency Beijing was able to reduce their food waste by 18% per guest. They saved over 22,000 kilograms of food. They were able to reduce the emissions of over 55,000 kilograms of methane gas, and they saved over 168,000 USD dollars. Guys, you see how you see how much sense it makes to join the pledge. And this was in a 2-year time frame between January 2023 and June 2025, $168,000. Yeah, so it just makes sense. It makes economic sense, it makes finance, it makes environmental sense, it makes social sense. And this is just another example as well. 98,000 kilograms of food waste reduced, 340,000 US made and saved from reducing food waste from multiple hotels in Bali. So these are just some of the organizations. So guys, it makes dollars and it makes sense, right? And this is just another example for the Marriott International, and we continue to add Marriott hotels all across the world and the region. And so we want to continue to encourage, right? You start reducing, and the beauty of this is even when you sign up or even before, you start seeing savings from just the first week of incorporating the pledge into your organization. Within the first week, you start seeing a difference. And so that is why it's important for Caribbean organizations to be a part of the pledge and to continue to do so, because we want to showcase as food waste and food and organic material is the #1 categories of waste in our region. Trinidad and Tobago generates 33%. On average, is anywhere from 30% to 40%. In some countries, even more than 40%. Always being the largest majority of material we generate. However, it often sits quietly undiscovered, and we haven't been paying much attention to reduction as a priority issue. And so this is what the pledge does, and this is what we do at SILE Environmental. So join the movement. We created something called the Don't Waste Good Food. I wish I could show you on my t-shirt. The Don't Waste Good Food movement, where it's all about reducing food waste in the Caribbean region and getting it to the stomachs that need it. So feel free to reach out, to contact us. My email is there. Our WhatsApp and phone number is there, because we need you to join the movement as well. Let's spread this like warm peanut butter across the Caribbean region. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sean. For sure, you will have many questions at the end about this pledge and how to be part of it. So yeah, I will stop sharing. In Alejandra, if you can help me sharing the screen now to present our last speaker. And thank you so much, Majid, for being here. The Professor Majid Mohamed is a post-harvest psychologist with over 35 years of experience in teaching, research, and outreach activities at the University of the West Indies. His latest work focuses on assisting Caribbean countries with developing sustainable, efficient, and inclusive mechanisms to produce, transform, and deliver healthy and safe food to customers, both in rural and urban areas. He is also engaged in research related to the development of value-added products from tropical fruits and vegetables, and conceptualization, design, and development of secondary and tertiary food products from tropical fruits and vegetables processing waste. So thank you so much, Majid, for being here, and the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Maria. You hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. In discussing the opportunities for the recovery of fruits and vegetable processing waste, I'm going to look at about 6 or 7 major fruits and vegetables in the Caribbean, and to look at how the conventional applications and the emerging opportunities would have to integrate in order to bring out realistic measures by which we could convert some or transform some of that waste into value-added product. As you can see here in this full slide, the conventional methods to convert or to transform it would require some emergent opportunities to drive the process. One of the biggest problem we face with industries involved in processing waste is the high cost of recovery. If we could improve the efficiency of the recovery by using more effective extraction and isolation methods, we would be able to reduce that cost significantly. And I want to demonstrate that in the slides to come. So let's go on to the next slide, please. Okay, a very popular product in the Caribbean is pepper sauce. And while we are familiar with all of these products that are ground whole with the seed, and now you have here the freeze-dried product, and then you could make powder out of it, which could have a multiple set of uses. Our main concern here is from the pepper sauce. For 1 ton of raw pepper, we could only get about 250 kilograms of pepper sauce and 15 kilograms of pepper sauce waste. Now this here contains, apart from the salt and the acid that they use to make this contains a number of other valuable products that if extracted and recovered would provide a lot of opportunities for the food and the non-food industries. For example, 80% of the capsaicin in this pepper processing waste is located here. 80% of this product, the capsaicin. So we want to see how we could examine the opportunities here. And I want you to follow me here. From the processing waste, this 15 kilograms, you would get an aqueous waste, and you would also get the residue. You could crush and then wash dry. And this brings you, this process here brings you with this product, which is a dried product, but minus the pungent principles. So if it is a dried product minus the bitterness of the pepper, then that could be used as a food additive and also applied and create opportunities in the confectionery industry and also be used for pet foods, animal pet foods. The aqueous waste results in the production of what we call the pepper oil, the red pepper oil. So this is what has the pungent principles, the capsaicin oils and the capsaicin. And it must undergo a double ethanol extract and isolation to give you 3 very important products. The non-pungent oil, capsaicin oil, which could be used as a flavorant. This is it here. And then you have the capsaicinoids, which is this one. It's a white product. This has a number of opportunities that could be used in pharmaceutical and nutraceuticals. And some of these pharmaceutical products are useful in terms of providing good cancer-reducing benefits, as well as good gut health. The other product is the capsaicin. You could get up to 60 grams from that. And this capsaicin is a drug ingredient, but it's not only a drug ingredient. You would know that capsaicin are used in a number of pharmaceutical products. Lots of balms for rubbing and pain for joints. It is also used as a defense mechanism in the pepper spray, and that is being used right now, as well as, and within recent times, the work done by Xu et al. Showed that that capsaicin could also be added to paint, and that paint could be applied to ships in order to ward off parasites. Next slide, please. Yes, the other product is citrus, and the waste from it constitute the citrus peel, the citrus pomace, and the citrus seeds. These could be converted into essential oils, polyphenols, and carotenoids, like the products like naringin and hesperidin, which are found in the skin, and they are very good antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-carcinogenic products, and they have the properties to realize that. Then you have pectin. So this is a non-animal source of a gelling agent, which could be used for vegetarian diets. You have the dietary fiber, and you also have the production of charcoal. Next slide, please. In terms of coffee, a number of value-added products could be used and utilized from the waste, the spent coffee waste. Lipids, lignin, cellulose, semicellulose, tannins, antioxidant, caffeine, etc. But the wet processing method is preferred because of a better control, despite the high waste amount. An integrated coffee waste biorefinery could significantly produce sustainability. Therefore, it has to show that it could be involved in what we call the circular benefits. And we need a framework and regulations in order to do that and to bring that into reality. Next slide. And cocoa, the three main waste products on the cocoa is the cocoa pod husk, the cocoa bean shell, and the cocoa mucilage. From each one of these, you could have food products as well as non-food products, each one of those. Approximately 30% of the cocoa, specifically the cocoa nibs, are used as primary constituent in chocolate production, while the other portion is either discarded in landfills as a compost or repurposed as animal feed. The cocoa byproducts consist of the husk, the shell, the pulp, of which 70% of the fruit is composed of the cocoa pod husk. And that has many food uses in terms of the fiber, the lignin, the bioactive antioxidant, such as polyphenols, that are presently underutilized, but could, under proper recovery processes, made into value-added products. Next slide, please. Now, this is the cocoa shell. Barry Cahut, and you know this name because they are involved in the manufacture of chocolate. They patented a process to grind cocoa shells, into a powder that could be used as a cocoa replacer, a fat bloom inhibitor, and an ingredient in other food products, apart from the fact that it could also be used as a mulch, etc. Next slide, please.
Mandy, just to remind you, you have 5 more minutes to finish your presentation.
Okay, I will finish in 5 minutes. And then you have the coconut processing, where you have a number of food and non-food uses as well. So we can go on to the next slide. And here we have banana, which has been well worked. You have food processes, for example, biofuels, wastewater treatment from the pseudostem and the residues of the banana, nanotechnology application. The pseudostems can be produced to produce fibers and nanoparticles that are useful in therapeutic cancer treatment. And then you have the organic fertilizer, which could improve soil health. Next slide, please. And then we have pepper sauce. This has been well worked on, both based on the pepper peel. You have dietary fat, just the peel alone, 52% fiber, 29% carbohydrate. And then, of course, you have the pigment, the lycopene and the beta carotene, which are very powerful antioxidants that could be used not only in the form of nutraceuticals, but could also be used in the cosmetic industry. Next slide, please. However, there are many strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. The recovery or utilizing or processing waste is a sustainable approach to manage waste, reduce the impact of environmental hazards, and create new economic opportunities. But the weaknesses, it is costly, but we could overcome that cost by putting very effective extraction and isolation method. The opportunities are extensive for natural food additives and supplement, and this is a growing industry, but the threats are there. The threats to the environment and the hazard to the environment. Next slide, please. Yes, there is an opportunity to look at something called as the beta refinery. I only saw this week. This equipment utilizes a squeezing belt with a perforated drum to gently separate the soft material from the seed, the skins, and the stem. It increases yield, reduces waste, ensures a consistent, high-quality product for purees, juices, and concentrate. And then to my final slide, I want to summarize by saying, despite the fact that there are many progress taking place, there is still a lot of need for improving. Opportunities for food loss and waste would depend on whether you're looking at a single product, a multiple product, a zero waste product revived. The single product and the multiple products offer incremental improvement in waste utilization. But the zero waste valorization, this is where we want to go. And these are the requirements in order to do this. We got to analyze the waste. We got to look at what are the value-added components. We got to have effective extraction methods, etc. If food is lost, if it is not consumed. Food loss occurs when food escapes its intended use, which is supposed to be eaten. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Majid. This was very interesting, and thank you to all of our presenters today. I believe these were very, very useful information that was shared in these topics of how to give value to the waste or the organic waste. So thank you so much to everyone. We're gonna go now to the questions and answers session. Let me stop spotlighting Mr. Majid so we can all see everyone who might want to ask a question. Remember, you can leave questions for our three presenters in the chat if you want to. Let's see. Mr. Felix Cocu is asking, Sean, is there any certified resort or hotel thus far in Belize? And I would extend that question maybe in the Caribbean, in other Caribbean countries. Is there any resort or hotel certified thus far? Sean, can you hear us?
Oh, yes, sorry, Diana. Yes, I can hear you now. Can you repeat? Sorry.
Yes, no problem. Mr. Felix Kukul is asking if there's any certified resort or hotel thus far in Belize, and I would extend that to if there's any in the Caribbean as well, under the food pledge.
So there are no. So the short answer is that there are no certified hotels with the pledge in Belize currently. We are currently in talks with some hotels in the Caribbean, so other hotels in and around in Trinidad, and some in Barbados and Aruba, but they have not gone through the full process yet. So I can't say that they're fully certified, but they're in the process, yes. But none in Belize right now. So Belize can, as we say, take front, run ahead, and get it done. Thanks for that question.
Thank you. Shannon, I was wondering also if you worked only with hotels or maybe also with restaurants, or what other type of service providers do you offer that certification to, or have achieved the certification so far?
Thanks, Diana. So yes, we also do work with restaurants. We also work with so canteens. So like how we have food halls with multiple food businesses in one place, or single canteen. And then we also work with events and those centers that host events, so convention centers and like food, because we have tons of food festivals all over the region as well. So we work with them, with all of those different types of organizations and groups for the pledge.
Great, thank you.
Could I ask the question to my Trinidad colleague?
Go ahead, Mr. Majid.
Yes, thanks very much for your brilliant presentation. It was very informative. But I have a question for you. I had done some research looking at the waste, the food waste in the hospital, and looking at religious events and other events like weddings. And I also looked at the cruise line industry. And in particular, where you have buffet dining. And we found the losses were very high. Have you examined that? And I would like to share some of the information with you so that you get a realistic idea of what we found as high losses and what are some of the reasons that were generated. But this, to me, is an area of major concern.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed, for your question. So we have not explored the cruise side of the tourism industry just yet, but we also do recognize that there is a lot of wastage happening there. And so I would love to be privy to the information that you have, because again, that could help guide some of the support that we can offer to those kinds of organizations, so the hospitals, because as I said, the whole thrust is not about wasting good food, and so to get those kinds of organizations involved is important. So I'd love to see the information that you've gathered in that area.
Perfect. Thank you, Sean. Maybe I wanted also to ask Davis, a little bit thinking of our audience here today in this series of webinars. You mentioned selling the compost is not like the main objective for the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority in the composting plant at Deglos. But we have participants here from local governments in Belize, which are exploring the implementation of a composting plant locally. And in their case, the business model is one important aspect to try to obtain decision maker support in establishing a place like this in small towns and cities in Belize. Could you speak a little bit on the financial sustainability of the plan, how it's financed, how the selling of the products, is there any help or the income from that is relevant for that? And any recommendations on your side, since you were the one who kind of built all this project with your own hands, if you have any recommendations for these stakeholders on how to have that start a place like this at the local level?
Yes, very, very, very good question. Interestingly, for St. Lucia Solid Waste Management, before we actually started the composting initiative, we were already gifted with 2 chippers. So getting into a program like that has a very high capital investment component. What I would say in that regard, if there are avenues for serious incentives, whether it's from local government or from federal government, or whatever applies wherever you are, that would be a place to start. Chippers are expensive. Shakers, every part of the process you have. If you want to get a skid steer, if you want to get a articulated loader, you're talking about some serious money in that regard. So if one could get help, that would be a plus. But I do not want to deter anybody if they want to start. I mean, for centuries we've been told, maybe even by our parents, there's nothing wrong in starting small. There's absolutely nothing wrong in starting small. If it's a situation where you could get a used chipper, or you could get something of a lower capacity, the thing I always tell persons is to start. If you start, you could build from there. In terms of revenue, I think what would be critical is a diversification of your product line. Do not only think about producing compost. Think about producing compost. You'll produce wood chips before the compost, so that's another another place that you could sell mulch, you could sell wood substrate, you could have a chipping service. You know, let there be a diversification in what you're offering. And if somebody comes to you with a bright idea, try your best to work on that and see how you could inculcate that into your business model. But I know it can be difficult to start. If you're thinking about starting large, again, the capital investment is going to be quite hefty. So start small and build from there. And I know the improvements will come. The market, I would want to think, is there for it. So that should not be an issue moving forward. And well, me personally, I like to think things. I don't know if it's my science. Well, it is my science background. I like to do experiments on. So you know, do a few experiments. Who knows? You might just come up with something. You know, so don't limit yourself. Don't be in a shell. Don't be in a bubble. Reach out to other persons in the same industries and so on. You know, you might say they are competitors, but there's so much value in sharing, even in forums like this one right now, you know, so that you could get some ideas and know what to look for, and what might be some of the potential issues, you know, moving forward. But my encouragement is most definitely start. If it's just something small, if a shovel, start.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Polio. And I think that's very true. Like once you start, you can do a step by step and upscale and do something like that looks like what they have implemented in St. Lucia. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for all the comments as well in the chat. Just I think a lot of from Robert, from Joe, from Ronald. Just thanking the presentations that were very interesting, amazing, gives plenty of food for thought, says Robert. So thank you, everyone, our presenters and also our participants. Maybe lastly, just to close the session, we'll just share that our next session, we won't have one in February, but we'll have on January, I mean, but in February, we'll have our next session. That's February 25th, Wednesday, as usual. And we will focus on the presentation of the organic waste management plans that we supported their development for the four municipality cities and towns in Belize that developed that under the program. So you can see what these documents look like and how they have helped those local level authorities to start gaining support, looking for support, for financial support to implement these kinds of initiatives at the local level in Belize. So thank you, everyone. Maybe we stop sharing the presentation and then we take a quick picture of everyone. So if everyone can please turn on your cameras and we'll take a final picture of the session attendees, and then we can close the session. So don't be shy, please turn your cameras on. I'll give you 10 more seconds and then we take a picture. Come on, more cameras. Okay. Good, we'll take our picture. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you in February. Happy holidays.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good festive season. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Likewise.
Mohammed, I'm looking forward to that email. Take care,
Yes.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.